Hi, third grade. I am so excited to get ready to do math with you today. It's just going to be a short lesson. We're going to talk a little bit about measurement, and we're going to talk a little bit about addition and one of the strategies that you can use to solve an addition problem. Because I know if you picked up one of the packets that the schools were offering, there are some addition problems in there, and it's always good to practice some of those strategies that we can use. So the things that you'll need for today's lesson, you'll need a ruler. If you do not have a ruler, you can also use a tape measure that might be found in your garage or your basement or a toolbox. You can also use like a measuring tape. They're sort of flimsy feeling. A lot of times they're used for sewing. So you can always ask your parents if they have a sewing kit, and you might be able to find a measuring tape in there. If you do not have any of those, I have uploaded a printable ruler to Google Classroom. So you can also, if your parents have access to a printer, they can print one. If you can't do any of those things, that is completely okay. You may not be able to do the scavenger hunt that I have later. However, you can still tune in for this lesson, and hopefully we will still have a lot of fun. So you will need some sort of measuring tool. You will also need either a piece of paper and a pencil, or a dry erase board, or a chalkboard, something to do some of the work in. Now, I do have a tip for you. As a teacher, you would think that I have tons of chalkboards and dry erase boards here at home, right? Well, apparently I do not. I think that I took them all to school. So something that you can use that isn't a dry erase board, but you can use it as a dry erase board, is actually a picture frame with the glass still in. Now, as I've said in my other videos, please ask your parents before you use any of these materials. They might have an extra picture frame lying around somewhere. It does have to have the glass in for it to work, but basically the way it works is exactly like a dry erase board. So you can write something with a dry erase marker, and then it erases. So that is an awesome resource if you don't have a dry erase board. Another thing that works is a handheld mirror. You can use that as well. As always, ask your parents before you just take your mom's mirror. Please ask first. But there shouldn't be any damage done to them as long as you're careful with them, because it does come right off. Please make sure you use a dry erase marker though, not a permanent marker, or it will be ruined. So those are just a couple of resources that if you don't have a dry erase board, you can use. But a perfect replacement would also just be a paper and pencil, a piece of scrap paper somewhere, and a pencil or pen or even a crayon would work perfectly fine for this. So that is all you're going to need for this lesson. So we're going to start with our measurement. So as we have learned before, this is a ruler, and who can tell me how many inches are in a ruler? 12. There are 12 inches in a ruler. Now, we have been talking, before we left for this break, we were talking a lot about fractions. And we were talking, specifically, some of the fractions we were talking about were fourths and halves. So, if you remember, if I draw something, like a shape, we talked about brownies, and cut it into 4 pieces, each one of these is a fourth. Right? So we have 1/4, 2/4, or 1/2, 3/4, and 4/4. So there are 4 fourths. We also can cut a shape into halves, and if I color one of them in, that's 1/2 and 2 halves. So we talked a lot about fractions with shapes, and we talked a little bit about fractions on a number line, but what we didn't really talk about yet was fractions on a ruler. And you actually already measured using fractions earlier this year. So if you look carefully at the ruler, you can see, obviously going to 1, there's a lot of little lines, right? But I want you to look at the slightly bigger lines, so these lines right here. So let's count how many of them there are. There's 1, 2, 3, and then we get to the big line, which is the 1. So all of these lines right here, like I said, not the tiny lines, the bigger ones, they are all 1/4. So this is a quarter, 1/4. This is 2/4, or 1/2. This is 3/4, and this is 4/4, or 1/2. And the same goes on for the rest. So this would be 1 1/4, 1 2/4, or 1 1/2, 1 3/4, 2, 2 1/4, 2 2/4 or 2 1/2, 2 3/4, 3. And it continues on and on and on. So basically all this is doing is it's taking this whole inch and it's splitting it up into 4 pieces. So this is 1 of those pieces, this would be 2 of those pieces, this would be 3 of those pieces, and this would be 4 of those pieces, which is 1 whole. Because remember, if I cut a brownie into 4 pieces and I take all 4 of the pieces, because we discussed how much I love brownies, then I took the whole entire brownie, right? I took the whole thing. So that is exactly the same way with an inch. And it's split up into those 4 pieces, and if I measure if it's only this big, then that's 1/4 of the whole inch. So the same goes for all the way. If you have let's see, 35, and on a yardstick or a tape measure you might see a lot more than 12. It's still split up. That 35th inch is still split up into these 4 pieces, into the quarters, and then obviously 2/4 equals a half. So what you're going to do, what I'm challenging you to do, I uploaded a scavenger hunt on Google Classroom, and I uploaded a piece of paper that has what I would like you to look for. And so, for example, it says measure something. What is something in your house that is 1 1/4 inches? So you would go around your house and you would try to find something that is 1 1/4 inches. So that's how big it would be right here. Okay, and I continue on. I also ask you to measure the biggest thing that you can find in your house and the smallest thing that you can find in your house. So that's the scavenger hunt. Then there is a Google quiz. It's not actually a quiz. It's not graded, but I put that on there, and that's where you can show me your answers. So it asks, what did you find that was 1 1/4 inches? And you can say, oh, I found this object in my house. I found this object in my house. If you can't find anything that is that object, that's okay. I think that there's probably something in your house that is very close to it, but there might not be an exact one, and that is okay. This is just for fun. It's a fun scavenger hunt. It's a rainy, kind of chilly, gross day outside, so it's something fun for you to be able to do to get moving a little bit and to get your thinking cap on. And I am also going to do it, and I am going to go around my house and I'm going to try to find the measurements of these things too, and I will share my measurements with you. So it'd be something fun for us all to do. Just a couple of reminders of how we measure. Remember, we always start here at the very end. So if I'm measuring this pen, I would make sure, now it's easier if you lay it down, but I wouldn't be able to show you then. So we're going to do it this way. So if you see the very end of my pen is lined up right here. And now where does the end of it go? It goes right about here. Where is that line right here? It's 5 1/2 inches, right? So that would be 5 1/2 inches. If I found this screw that was just laying around, and once again, put it lined up with the end. Now, where is that really close to? It might not be exact, but where is it really, really close to? It's close to 1 1/4, right? So for that section where it says, what did you find that was 1 1/4 inches? I found a screw that was 1 1/4 inches. And the same goes, you can use anything in your house. I have nail polish, I could measure that. I could measure my marker. I could measure my book. Okay, so that is, ooh, that's actually a 1/4 too. So if you can see, maybe you can see, I'm not sure if you can. However, it goes right to there, which is 9 1/4, 9 1/4 inches. So there's so many things that you can measure around your house. I'm encouraging you to complete the scavenger hunt to send me your answers. Once again, you can always feel free to send me photos or videos through the Remind app of you doing it. I would love to see you getting excited doing the scavenger hunt. So that is the measurement part of our lesson. And also, one last reminder, if you have something that is longer than a foot, because I do ask you to measure the biggest object in your house. So remember that you start here. So let's say that I'm measuring my arm. And I start here, and then I should always put my finger or something right at the end, right? So that then I can pick up the ruler and start again. Okay, so it's very difficult to do on my arm. So there we go. I put the ruler right where my finger was, and I continue that way. Because remember, if it overlaps, you're not going to get a correct measurement, and if there are gaps, you're not going to get a correct measurement. So that is our measurement part of our lesson. I'm excited about seeing the scavenger hunt results that I get from you later. The other thing that I wanted to review was one of our addition strategies. So let's say that I have a number that is 562 plus 489 equals something. So one of the strategies that we can use is the break apart method. So raise your hand if you feel like you've got that break apart method. You're like, yeah, that's what I would use. Okay, so some of you are like, yes, I've got this strategy down. Some of you are like, what is that again? I've been out of school for a couple of days. And some of you are kind of like, sometimes I'd use this strategy, sometimes probably not. So remember to break it apart. You need to break apart the hundreds, the tens, and the ones, and that's the full break apart method. We will talk later about if you only want to break apart one of the numbers and keep the other whole, but for now we're going to break apart both numbers. So who can tell me what numbers would I start with if I'm breaking this apart? Okay, so I would start with my hundreds place, right? So how many hundreds do I have here? I have 5 hundreds. And how many hundreds do I have there? I have 4 hundreds. So what is 500 plus 400? Or you can do 5 plus 4 and then add the zeros. It's 900. Am I done? Is that my whole problem? No, I forgot about the tens and the ones. So now I need to move to the tens. So how many tens are there? There's 6 tens, which is 60. And there's 8 tens, which is 80. So I need to do 60 plus 80. And then go ahead and figure that out. You can also simplify it. I know that 80 plus 20 is 100. And 100 plus the remainder, which would be 40, is 140. So I know that that is my answer. As always, you can always do the 6 plus the 8 and then add on the 0 later. 6 plus 8 is 14. Add on the 0, 140. Last but not least, I need to do my ones. So I need to do 2 plus 9. And who can tell me what is 2 plus 9? It's 11. Am I done? No, I'm not done. I need to add all of these numbers together. So 900 plus 140 is what? Well, 900 plus 100 is 1,000 plus 40 is 1,040, right? Then I still need to add on my 11. So 1,040 plus 11. I know that 1,040 plus 10 would be 1,050 plus 1 more is 1,051. That would be my answer. 562 plus 489 is 1,051. So that is just a reminder of how we would do our break apart method. That's just kind of a quick reminder there. So I'm going to do one more problem like that, and then we're going to say goodbye for now. So this time I'm going to kind of wait, and I'm going to give a little time for you to be solving the problem. So I have 376 plus 294. So go ahead and write down the first step that you're going to do, which is breaking apart some of the numbers. So go ahead and write down that first step on your piece of paper or your whiteboard or your chalkboard or whatever you have. I'm going to give you like 10 seconds. Okay, so first you should have written down your hundreds place, right? So we have our 300 plus our 200. What is 300 plus 200? It's 500. Very good. Okay, I'm not done. I did my hundreds place. Now I need to do my tens. So remember, I can't just put 7 and 9. They're in the tens place. So 7 tens is what? It's 70. And 9 tens is, it's 90. Now this one might be a little bit trickier, but I'm going to give you probably about 20 seconds to figure it out. Okay, so how are you feeling? So I know that 7 plus 9, I can figure that out. That's 16. So then I have to add on the 0, which is 160. Okay, so we've got that. I'm not done though. I need to do my ones. 6 plus 4. What's 6 plus 4? I think most of you probably know that. It's 10. It's 10. Very good. So now I need to add it all together. So I'll start with my first two. 500 plus 160 is what? It's 660. And then I still have my 10 left over. So what is 660 plus 10? It's 670. That is my answer for this problem here. So just a reminder, this is just one of the many strategies you can use for addition. It is not all of them. I will be going over most of them in the next couple of weeks. However, this is just one of them. So if you aren't super comfortable with this, it can't hurt to practice it a little bit. But if you are really comfortable with it, then that is great. That can be the strategy that you use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down 3 equations that I would like you to work on. I'm also going to put them in Google Classroom. So I'm going to write down 3 of them. And then I would like you to copy them down. And then we'll go from there because hopefully you will be able to solve these using break apart. I'm sorry, I hear my Evie girl walking over to me on the tile. Almost done. Okay. These are the 3 equations that I would like you to do. Now, once again, I'm going to put these on Google Classroom, so if you don't have a piece of paper that you can write them down on right now, that's fine. However, you can copy them down right now if you would like to. And I would love for you to tell me the answers of these problems. I would also love for you to show me your work, so you can have a video of you solving these problems, or you can have your parents take a picture of your work. I would love to see the work that you do because you are all very awesome math stars, and I'm so proud of how far you have come this year in math. You have learned so much, and I miss doing math with you, so I would love to see your work and see what you've accomplished here with these problems. So if you didn't get a chance to write these down, I am putting them on Google Classroom. I will also put a place for you to write your answers if you do solve the problems. Once again, none of this is mandatory. However, I would love for you to share it with me. I would love for you to show me your work and keep those cells in your brain going and moving and solving math problems. And then obviously don't forget about our fun measurement scavenger hunt that you can do this afternoon or this evening. So I hope that you enjoyed Mrs. Tasik's math time, and I will be back tomorrow for some fun Friday math. Have a wonderful evening, boys and girls. Bye.